As I've always said, good leaders are not just born, good leaders is what one make out of it. Evans Omondi, Kahawa Ndani, see you again. Yeah, when you ask where I come from, what exactly do you mean? I said I'm vying here in Kahawa Ndani, that is Ruiru constituency, Kiambu County. So ideally, I come from Kiambu County, from Kahawa Ndani. That's it. When we want to move away from the politics of, where we want people to tell us and judge them from those things we call second names. I was born and raised in Kahawa Ndani very many years ago. So I would want us to discuss issues that affect us here as a people, regardless of where do you come from.
But let me ask you this, yeah? You have talked about like economy, like your focus is, or your stronghold is economic, and more economic empowerment. So what economic impact would you have in your ward, like Kahawa Ndani ward, where you're vying? What impact will you have? What economic impact will you have on it, you as a leader?
When I talk about economic issues, I want to give you a scenario here. Wendani is strategically placed in between two very strong installations. One of the installations is called the military installation, just across the road, Kahawa Barracks, that supports our economy in such a big way. The other one is Kenyatta University, which currently has a population of about 75,000 students. That is government-sponsored, and I want to believe they still have the ones that we used to call them parallel. They are about to finish now. There are things that are attached when you talk about economy. There are those economic drivers, and one of them is the infrastructure. If you look at Wendani, the roads in Wendani are quite in bad shape. And as the next leader in Kahawa Ndani, one of the things I will focus on, number one, will be the roads. The moment you have good roads, automatically it impacts on the growth of that particular area. Let me make it simpler. I want to use an example of the border riders. If you look at the amount they spend on repairs of their borders due to the roads that we have that are in bad shape, it is a lot of money that can be pumped into the economy and do something much better. The border rider, instead of spending that 1,000 or 2,000 every week to repair their border, that is money that can be pushed into a circle, and they can be able to get another border after some time and employ another person. That is how you grow an economy. The same on the same issue of roads. If you look at let's talk of the landowners. The landlords around and the landladies. If you have good roads, what happens with the issues of rent? You'll definitely have rents that go a bit higher. We have houses in Wendani currently. I've walked around and I've confirmed the occupancy ratio is around 70%. So people have taken loan, they have put up these buildings, but occupancy is up to 70%. And the banks expect them to pay their loans 100%. As a leader, I need to find a way. How do we work on that? The next thing I'll look at is the security. Let's talk of the street lights. The moment you have a security in an area, and I want to go back to Kenyatta University, you realize the leadership of Kenyatta University, the student leadership, they also have the non-residents leaders. when these young people have been sent to the university by their parents, they expect them to be safe. And when I talk about economy of Wendani, Kenyatta University, we must appreciate. Assume the 70,000+ students were to find Wendani to be a better area for them to live. A place where they can go to their classes late and be able to come back home, that is now Wendani, late. You can imagine the impact from Mama Mboga. Let's talk of now Mama Mboga, the person who sells and prepares beans. The 70,000, if you can find a way, half of them are non-residents. They don't, the capacity that they have at the university to be able to give them accommodation is around 50%. So where do the other 50% of them live? That is an economy that we can tap into, and it can impact our lives in a big way. So we need to have good roads for these young people. We need to have security for them by ensuring that the streets in Wendani are all well lit, whereby they are free. They can do their thing as they want. And by so doing, we will have everybody around tapping into that particular economy. I'm talking about how money flows. How do we tap into it? I also touched on the military establishment. When these soldiers, when they want to come from the barracks, they want to do their things outside here, their shopping and other things. Is our area a good place for them? So there's another economy that we can touch on, and I will tell you for free because I work very closely with them. We have, I would not, because of security issues, I would not want to mention the numbers of the soldiers we have, but we have a substantial number that can inject into our Wendani economy over and above 100 million per month. How do we tap into this? And me as a leader, what are the things that I need? It is also true that the military itself may not be able to accommodate all of them. So where do they live? They should give Wendani first priority. So it is upon me as a leader to be able to make them give Wendani the first priority. And what do these people need? In the barracks, they don't have bad roads. They have good roads. We need to have a replica of the same here. So I think this will build our economy in a very big way.
Sure. Even just you were talking about the KU students, and it's going to lead me to my next question,
yes,
of which is about the youth. Okay. For example, right now, so many youth are unemployed, and so many youth have their own agendas. For example, some of them have their own CBOs, for example, or circles, say. Actually, a good example even I can give personally, I have a CBO, and it's been quite a hustle and tussle to get like support, especially in the county offices, whereby they say that, okay, for the youth, like we have this and this, we can help, and it's actually projects whereby they can help. So you as a leader, you as a leader, what's your plan when it comes to youth agendas, especially the ones who have maybe CBOs or want to have like employment for them to impact themselves, as you say, economically? So what about the youth agendas in Wendani ward, for example?
All right. The youth agenda is one of the areas that have given a very serious priority. You've talked of the CBO. Where the youth have not gotten it right, they want to get the funds as an individual. The easiest way to get this fund, the youth fund, to get the support for startups, is to have a CBO, a registered, where you don't come as an individual, you come as a group of people. Recently, I had a conversation with the youths around Wendani, and specifically I called in one of the circles. I don't know whether to mention the name. It's around Wendani. And we had a conversation around making it simpler for the youth. Before maybe we now go into, before we go to the funds that are available. Our youths are taking a lot of their money into drugs. That's a fact. And they're doing that not because they're drunkards or because they love getting involved into drugs, but they've lacked someone who knows the way, who can show them the way. And when I brought in the circle, the responsibility that I was placing on the circle is very simple. To number one, make it simpler for the youth to be able to save on a daily basis. And the specific circle I'm talking about, give them an opportunity to save 35 shillings per day. That amounts to 1050, that is 1,050 shillings per month. And this group I was talking to is around 50 of the youth. They save for 6 months, that is per person. There's around about 6,100. And the circle will give them 4 times their circle, their savings. So we are looking at money coming in. If you look at 6,000 per person, that is 24,000 times 50. It's over and above around almost 2 million shillings. And we're looking at what can this group now do as a group. When you have it in lump sum, it is easier to start something that can bring in some good money. And that would empower our youth. They will find something to do every morning. We already have something we want to do with them. I would maybe not want to speak it out here because I've still not yet gotten the seat, but we've already talked with the youth. And we're looking at if this project was to be rolled, even the county government will be party to it. They'll be able to purchase some of the products that the youth are going to produce from this particular amount of money. And we'll have young people going to work every morning, work that they've been able to provide themselves. That is where I'm looking at as a leader.
How will you help them achieve maybe their economic status in a society? How can you help them improve their lives once you're elected?
One of the things that I've come to learn for the time that I've been in active politics is that there are so many opportunities we have. There's so much that the government has put in place for not just the youth or women, but ideally for everyone. But the problem is either we do not understand or we don't have someone to show us the way. Issues to do with women. There is a lot of money for businesses, for women. There's Women Fund that is available. I'm currently in talk with the different women groups. And in Wendani, we have over and above 50 different women groups in this ward. And we're looking at how do I come in as a leader? Who do I work with? Because the money is available. It is so much there. Only that maybe they are not in the picture of the availability. And them that are in the picture, they don't know how to go about it. So that is where now I come in and we ensure that this money is available. These beautiful women that we have in our society, they have so much brain. All they want is someone who can be able to follow up for them. They know what they want to do. All they want is just a link. And there'll be that link between the county and the youth. And even working closely with the MP, that is now the national government. There's still money provided by the national government for women and for the youth. So that one is in place, and you can be sure that you will see serious changes come 2022 from September after I've assumed office.
On to my last question, and this one I'll let you you say as much as you can, but since this is the election year, and we see that right now it's the crucial moment whereby us as citizens of this beautiful country of ours, Kenya, we need to eye ourselves, like me as an individual, me as Myles.
Yes.
I'll go to the ballot by myself and choose a leader. So what are some of the qualities as me as Myles or any other Kenyan citizen who's going to vote, what are some of the qualities someone will look for in a leader so as for them to vote for?
Leadership, if you're to look at qualities of leadership, number one, let me say that I didn't say this from the word go, but the world is divided into two: the believers and the others. And qualities of a leader, if I was to speak now from a believer point of view, is one, you must look at, is this person a honest person? I'm coming in to be trusted with a huge responsibility of taking care of resources. These are serious resources, millions and millions of shillings going to impact into the lives of thousands of people. You need to have a very honest person. And how do you know somebody is honest? It is very simple. Look at the history of that particular person. That's why I say that politics should be local. Local in a way that you know who Evans is. Where does he go to church? Who is his wife? How has he taken care of his family? How does he treat people around him? How do I treat my parents? How do I live with my neighbors? How do I treat my housing? The gate man that opens the gate for me when I come from work, how do I treat him? These are some of the things that before you make a choice, we need to look at. Unfortunately, we have reduced leadership to bubbles that I'll only be chosen by my friends simply because my name is Omondi. The only quality that I possess in Wendani, and why I'll even rally people behind me, is because my name is Omondi. And the other one will rally people behind him because his name is Karaoke. And therefore, anybody who belongs to that bubble must vote for me. But I want to say that when it comes to leadership, if we really want Wendani is really behind. Do you know why it's behind? Because of the question you've just asked me. We've always voted on the basis of where a person comes from or what his second name is all about. And we've taken every other quality of a good leader. Someone honest, someone trustworthy, someone that we know we put this on him, he'll be able to do it. And what do we look at? We throw all those other qualities aside and look at one thing and concentrate on it and rally our people and get goons and ensure that our person has gone through simply because the person is our person. We may need to look into it properly. So I'll advise anyone going to that ballot day to vote, as you get into that box, think through it. And if you can, take time and think through it. I want to give a good example of what I mean. When Corona struck, I had just gotten into politics for the first time during the by-election. And in the process, found myself doing a lot of community work and even support. People were hit hard. People lost their jobs, and I would be able to get some few help here and there from friends, from well-wishers, from my own family, and even from my own income to support them that were in serious need. Then come August 2022. The same person that I assisted without asking their second name will be told by another fella who is not a leader that vote for me because my name is not the same as his name. And that one makes me a better leader than the person who stood by us. Than the person, today you saw, I was with another team somewhere and I was issuing a check for school fee for someone I've never met, but they ran to me for help. And I issued a check to the university today. Then the same person would be told not maybe to vote for me simply because I don't belong to their bubble. So one of the things I would say, let us not vote. I'll not tell you what to look at mostly, but I'll tell you what not to look at. What not to look at is the fact that this fella only comes from the same society or community like you. So let's vote very wisely and let's look for a leader. Otherwise, we'll continue having the problems we have around. People come, they take advantage of us. They get money for the roads, they eat the money. If you look, I sit in one of the boards around. If you look at the piping in Wendani, the piping is less than half inch, the piping. And that's why we can't have good roads around. Whenever those tractors come trying to do the roads, zinakata pipes. What happens? Instead of sorting the road issue, start sorting the water issue. So we need to have people who can do things the right way. A leader ought to do things the right way.
So you guys have heard it from a man who's vying for an MCA, for the qualities you should look for in a leader. And for me, what I can say as an ending point is that, especially this is something that I'd like to let everyone know, especially the youth probably. And it's that everyone, like all citizens, have this notion of saying that, oh, I don't want this leader. The only way you can make sure that a certain bad leader doesn't go in is by you voting. So remember, if you don't vote, you are giving the bad leader a chance to win an election. So for you, what I can say is that election is coming by August. So you as an individual, you as a Kenyan citizen, decide for yourself what you want to do. It's gonna be you and God on that ballot box, and that's why it's secretive. So you choose the leader who is good for you. Choose a leader who you think that can really help you, and that's the only way we can move forward as a society. For example, if I can speak to my fellow youth, right now most of us we are so young. By the time your child gets 18, do something. Be that generation, be that transition whereby we have a norm of choosing the right leaders, not because someone is famous or because someone is this, but because someone is a good leader. And that's the way that we can move forward to a better country whereby everyone can benefit and everyone can be stress-free. So whatever you do during this period, you know what you want and go and vote wisely. I'm your host, Myles Gicheru, and thank you for joining us today because we were talking about leadership in a community. We don't talk so much about this, and in reality is that leadership in our society is very important because it impacts your life one way or another. If you want to have a good life, choose the right leader. If you do not care about your life, don't vote. But honestly, whatever happens, it's always for you. You are the judge for it. You're the one who knows what's best for you.